Okay, welcome everyone to the General Purposes Committee meeting. If the fire alarm is activated, vacate the offices via the stairs. Please do not use the lifts. Assemble in Hawley Square on the green. Officers will assist you and advise when it's deemed safe to return to the chamber. Would everyone please ensure that their mobile phones are turned to silent and they're not used to make or receive phone calls whilst the meeting is in progress. Please switch or turn to silent your mobile phones and don't use them to make or receive calls. That's replication. Please note this meeting is being live streamed for members of the public. The meeting will also be recorded and subsequently broadcast on the internet. Does anybody intend to film the meeting? No. Go to H. Officers in attendance. I'd like to welcome Sonia Godfrey, Head of Human Resources, Chris Blundell, Director of Corporate Services and Section 15 of Office, and Ingrid Brown, Head of Legal and Monitoring Officer.
Legal and Democracy.
Oh.
And
You didn't write that down for me. Empire building there. Apologies. I have apologies from John Davis. Anybody else? No, thank you. Does anyone have any interest to declare in items of business in the agenda for this meeting? All completely uninterested as usual. Proposal to change the terms and conditions of the interim chief executive. Can I introduce Sonia to talk us through it?
Thank you. So the purpose of this report is to seek a decision on the permanent appointment of the Council's Chief Executive. So as the General Purposes Committee, you are asked to consider the following recommendations being made to full Council, which is the appointment of Mr Colin Carmichael, currently Interim Chief Executive, Head of the Paid Service and Returning Officer as permanent. So the role of Chief Executive of the Council has been filled by Colin Carmichael since July 2022. The Council has undergone significant positive change since that time and is in the Council's interest to make the appointment permanent. The proposal is to make the contract term from interim to permanent. Colin joined initially on a 12-month fixed-term contract in July 2022 and was employed directly by the Council. The contract was extended on the 13th of July 2023 for a further 12 months to the 31st of July 2024, and on the 28th of March 24, Council further extended that employment to the 31st of July 25. So the leader has discussed the contract term with Colin, and by mutual agreement, the proposal to committee and Council is to make the current contract permanent. This proposal is made and agreed by Colin in the context of the government's recent initiation of a process of local government reorganisation, which is likely by April 2028. Please note there is a typo in the report. It does mention 2008, but it is 2028. The leader is of the view that the Council's interests are better served by continuing Colin's contract than by initiating a recruitment process for a new Chief Executive who would only be in post for under 3 years, and given the current uncertainties about timescales, it seems most sensible to make the contract permanent. So with regards to alternative options, the Council could decide not to appoint Colin Carmichael into this permanent position and to go out to advert. However, this is not the preferred option. There is no public law or statutory duty to consult in relation to the decision. From a finance perspective, the Chief Executive position is included in the approved Council staffing establishment, and as such, the cost of this proposal can be met from existing approved budgets. So the Council's Officer Procedure Rules allows for this appointment without going to advert, in view of the fact that Colin is an existing member of staff. And the role of Head of Paid Service is a statutory appointment, and by implication means that the Council must appoint to that role in order to be legally compliant to the Act. This role is also critical for the Council in terms of stability moving forward, and without this decision there may be a risk of having a period without a Chief Executive in post, and the need to cover with an acting up role until a permanent appointment is made. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think I should just say a little about the background. I think that the report has covered it pretty much. The intention was always to appoint a new Chief Executive in the mid-term of this Council once we'd been fortunate enough to extend Colin's services to 2025. I think we all recognise that Colin has been an important part of the improvement of this council. And I know that he has the respect and support of his senior officer team, and I know that he has cross-party support as well. I did, in talking to Colin after Christmas, I did have that discussion which I was planning to have in the light of what we were hearing about local government reorganisation. I also consulted the leader of the Conservative group and the leader of the Green group and my cabinet colleagues, and there was a unanimous view that it was in the interests of the council for Colin to continue, particularly in the light of the uncertainty which is introduced by local government reorganisation. I think it's important for the stability of the council. So I'm really pleased that Colin is prepared to extend his stay with us, and I think that I'm sure that council will support that decision this evening. I'd just like to say, you know, well done to Colin, and thank you for everything that he's done so far, and we intend to work him hard for as long as he's here. Thank you.
Steve.
Yes, thank you, Chair. It is clearly a bonus for this council to retain Colin. And the only other thing I'd like to say is thank his wife for letting him continue to work here. Thank you. And I'll fully support it. Thank you.
Tricia.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, just to echo that, we're grateful to the leader for sharing his plans with us in advance, and we supported them wholeheartedly then, and we will again this evening. Colin has been a great thing for this council, and we're delighted to be retaining his services for longer.
Thank you. Linda.
Just to add to that, you've not mentioned that probably because of Colin, we're on the shortlist for the Most Improved Council Award.
And me.
Oh no, you're right at the bottom.
Anybody else? Lovely. Okay. So the committee is asked to consider the following recommendations. The appointment of Colin Carmichael, currently Interim Chief Executive, Head of Paid Service and Returning Officer, as permanent. Do I have a proposer? Steve? And seconded, Emma. Thank you. Do members agree? Agreed. Thank you. That concludes the business for this meeting. I declare the meeting closed at 7 minutes. Oh, it's a long one. Sorry.